And our President Akufo-Addo completes his leadership of the NPP when he ends his second term in 2025. Before this time, his successor should have been selected by the party's delegates at Congress. The race continues to take shape as the days go by, with Trade Minister Alan Kyerematen and Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia the front runners for the flag bearership position. While the two men have not publicly stated their desire for the job, their interest to lead the party in the next presidential elections remains open secret. The anger of some of the supporters is giving rise to concerns that the contest may not be fair. But is that indeed the case? This evening, we've brought together experts and party supporters to discuss the push for NPP leadership and how that will influence the party's fortunes in the next elections. Let's start with some of the concerns.
Since the release of the rules and regulations, a number of high-profile and ranking members of the party have openly violated the rules and regulations by declaring their support for the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, who has left nobody in doubt of his ambition to become the party's presidential candidate. Prominent among these party officials who have blatantly violated the party's rules and regulations are as follows: Deputy General Secretary of the party, Nana Obiri-Bwahin, the Northern Regional Executives led by Chairman Samba, the Vice Chairman of Ashanti, Mr. Kobna Senchire, the Member of Parliament for Karaga, my own friend and former colleague, Amin Anta, and then Member of Parliament for Toron, Honorable Habib Idrisu, and Farouk Mahama, MP for Yendi, among others. Interestingly, even though the actions of the above-mentioned officials and senior members clearly violate the party's code of conduct, none of these blatant violators has been called to order by the national executives of the party. The worst of it all, at the recent National Delegate Conference of the party, which was held in Kumasi, no less a person than the Vice President himself, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who was part of the very body that promulgated the party's rules and regulations, in wanton disregard of the same rules and regulations, arrived at the conference ground with supporters wearing his branded T-shirts and banners announcing his campaign for the flag bearership. As if breaching the code of conduct wasn't embarrassing, the Vice President and his cohort, in their desperation, went on as far as breaching the state protocols as he and his followers arrived late to the function, well after His Excellency the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, and the First Lady had taken their seats. In spite of all this embarrassing conduct, nobody in the National Executive, including Mr. Jombodu, the General Secretary, who announced the sanctions, has come out to condemn it or say anything about it. However, in an animal farm selective justice fashion, when supporters of other aspirants, particularly Honorable Alan John Kojo Kyerematen, a founding member of the party, tried to stand their ground and protect their own, they are either immediately rounded up by security agencies or subjected to acts of intimidation and senseless suspension. A clear case in point is the arrest and detention of some supporters of Honorable Alan Kyerematen, the Minister for Trade and Industry, and a leading contender to the flag bearership at the just ended National Delegate Conference for protesting the flagrant abuse of the party's regulations.
Well, the party has issued a statement on this, and I'm bringing that to you. So the General Secretary wishes to respond as follows. First of all, the said group is alien to the NPP and has never been part of the party's volunteer groups in any previous elections. In fact, the convener of the group, Emmanuel Osei-Gyamfi, who addressed the presser, is not even a member of the party. That's according to the statement released by the party. Then, so we will be bringing you some more on the statement. So records show that he voluntarily forfeited his membership of the NPP, even if he ever was, when in 2020, he filed to contest as an independent parliamentary candidate in the Twima Nwabija North constituency of the Ashanti region. How can somebody who is not a member of the NPP purport to lead a group in the party to fight for the interest of Alan Kyerematen? It is not surprising that the group will threaten that they may vote against the party's presidential candidate in 2024 if their concerns were not addressed. And the statement continues, certainly the group can only be said to be on a mischievous and destructive mission, and it will be in the interest of Mr. Alan Kyerematen to dissociate himself from such diabolic agenda against the NPP. The General Secretary also categorically denies the group's allegation of discriminatory application of the code against the supporters of Alan Kyerematen as a presidential hopeful. Then the party is resolved to crack the whip when it becomes necessary in order to ensure party discipline and sanity, which are the essential prerequisites for victory in 2024. Now, let's broaden the conversation and speak with Nana Bribwahing of the NPP and Dr. Isaac Sante. Good evening to you both. Right. Hello and good evening to you both.
Yeah, good evening to you, my brother.
Okay, so are you worried about the accusations and counter-accusations between the Alan and Bawumia camp?
Oh, personally, I wish you could have directed this discussion to the General Secretary.
Oh,
that
okay.
Statement,
Sorry, this is going to the General Secretary.
Oh, I see. I'm the Deputy General Secretary.
Okay. So, Mr. Bribwahing, are you worried about the accusations and counter-accusations between the Alan and Bawumia camp in the recent development?
Oh, certainly I must be a little worried having regard to what we went through in 2007 and 2008. I believe that New Patriotic Party is human-organized, human-oriented, human-controlled, human-centered party. And to that extent, you may have individuals who may have soft spots for some aspirants. Certainly, I am not so much worried about that. I am only worried when you find attempts to disunite the front. That is all. That is my major worry. That is all. Because we need a united front to approach the 2024. As to whether an individual is rooting for A or B or C or D, on that note, I am not worried at all. The least, I'm not worried at all. Of course, in my recent submissions, I mean, it's clear that I, Bribwahing, have made it abundantly clear. Even though I've stated that this is not campaign, rather an expression of intent. In my case, it's not. I will not consider that to be campaign. It is just an expression of intent. I'm opening a new chapter in my political career, and that chapter is that I am going to bring a Mampursi man to be the flag bearer of the party. I stand by that such utterance.
Nana Bribwahing, there are those who listen to statements like that from you, and it's clear to them that you've taken a stance already.
Oh, I'm talking in terms of Nana Bribwahing as an individual. I've been a youth organizer before, in 92. I've been a regional chairman before.
But you're an executive as well, Nana Bribwahing.
I've been a minister of state before. I've been the Deputy General Secretary for 2 terms, the first time in the history of our party. And so after July 2022, I'm going to open a new chapter. And what is that chapter? That chapter is that I'm bringing Mampursi man to be the flag bearer. He always beam with smiles, and he has spectacle at all times of material.
Nana Bribwahing,
to make history.
Nana Bribwahing, you're saying that you're opening a chapter. Why
in my political career?
Yes. Why wouldn't you have waited for you to quit or be out of the position as an executive, and then you can make this pronouncement?
People are asking me, Nana Bribwahing, so having served as a Deputy General Secretary for 2 years, why do you want to leave the head office of the party? Then I said, look, I'm going to open a new chapter. And this is the very chapter I'm going to open. So So I don't think there's anything wrong about that.
All right.
At all.
We have a Dr.
And I consider it an expression of intent.
Okay.
And I still stand by that.
All right. Dr. Sante, he's a senior lecturer, political science department, and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. He also joins us. Good evening to you, Dr. Sante. So you've been listening to Nano Bribwahi, and he's made a pronouncement. He's taking a position, even though he doesn't name a person. He's indicated, it's clear, or it's obvious to many who are watching who he intends to go in for. But he says it's his personal position, and it doesn't really indicate bias of any sort. What do you make of it?
Israel, good evening, and good evening to your viewers and listeners. I think I disagree with Nana, with all humility, because what he said, he has opened the floodgates for all manner of happenings that we are experiencing today. It is very unfortunate, because they set the rules of engagement, and he goes to the extent of making such statements that undermines the very, position that they have as executive. My question to him is that if everybody goes on the same tangent, declaring what a new chapter for the vision for the party or the whatever position they want to take, how do we going to take that position? Then we are going to have a very chaotic situation in the NPP. I think that
Dr. Sante, let me just put that question to him right now, since he's still on the line. So, Nano Bribwahi, the question is, if every one of the executives decides that they're going to state their future political ambitions...
and thereby open a new chapter.
And open new chapters. If everybody is going to open new chapters, don't you foresee chaos within the party?
Certainly not. Certainly not, Israel. Certainly not. Certainly not. I can assure you that... certainly not.
To the rules of engagement within the party.
I am not undermining the rules of engagement. I am stating my position clear. I beg to differ if you describe it as undermining the rules of engagement.
Yes.
That is not correct.
Dr. Sante, how do you see all this playing out in the party in a run-up to this flag bearership race?
In a democracy, you are governed by rule of law. He is a lawyer, and he knows more than I do. And that under the rule of law, we have equality before the law and due process. What it means is that when you are, if you are taking any decision within the party, nobody should be above the law. All right? If you are saying that before we declare open the elections or the nomination or election of candidates, nobody should do ABC. And you, the very executive who came out with a rule, want to open a new chapter on that score, and which, seems to undermine the very principle. Then you are creating a very serious problem for democracy to grow within the party. My worry is that it ties into what? Institutional breakdown. Because my question is that when we talk about institution, we are talking about rules, regulations, procedures, processes. Once you create such a condition, then all the rules, the regulations, and co are going to be thrown to the dogs. And there you see the chaos that we are experiencing now. I believe that NPP doesn't need this thing at this time, where Parliament is hung in nature, where there are industrial agitations, where there are, other forms of problems that we have in this country. Then more so when they themselves want to break the eight. If you want to break the eight, you want to go to the elections with what? Equal front. You want to have what? Unity. And then you want to work to support the government that you have put in place. Otherwise, there's nothing that you can stand on to campaign for people to give you their mandate. So I am worried about what is going on. And I can see that what MPP lack at the moment is that they need a political advisor who will be able to look at all these dynamics and guide the party through. It's a difficult period for them. I appreciate that. But you need a certain political advisor who will be able to pick the pieces together and advise the party to go along. My first port of call is that the Council of State, the Council of Elders, which is a bigger institution within the party, must rise up to the occasion and call people to order.
All right.
so that they don't, erode all the hard work that this party has done over the years in no time.
All right.
I think they have to do that. More so, the party must be mindful of the fact that they have struggled to come to power. So they don't want to do anything that will ruin their chances as we go along. For me, this is my humble plea to them.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Isaac Sante, political science lecturer. And thank you to Nano Bribuahin of the New Patriotic